Customers find it very helpful to actually bring their pensions together and bring them online and see how much they have in total. That is actually a very powerful way to feel more confident, actually, about your pension.
So the annual budget for the minimum standard is £10,900 for a single person and £16,700 for a couple.
It really is a good idea to talk to PensionWise before you start spending your pension money. It's a government body. The appointments are completely free. I'm going to say that again. The appointments are free.
Welcome back to the Pension Confident Podcast with me, Philippa Lamb. This month, we have a question for you. What does a happy retirement look like? The good news is that we're living longer than we used to. When Queen Elizabeth was born in 1926, average life expectancy for women was just 62. Now it's 83. So most of us can look forward to around 20 years of retirement or even longer. But what is retirement nowadays? Well, it might be stopping work completely or working part-time, volunteering maybe, or even starting your own business. So today we're going to look at visualising your ideal retirement and the financial and lifestyle steps to make it a reality. We've got three guests here today, financial journalist and founder of Much More with Less, Faith Archer. Hello, Faith.
Hello.
Mark Smith is in the studio too. He's head of media relations at the Pensions and Lifetime Savings Association. That's the PLSA. Hello, Mark.
Hello.
And lastly, PensionBee Senior Engagement Manager, Priyal Kanabar. Priyal spends a lot of her time talking to customers about their ideal retirement, so she is the perfect person for today's discussion.
Hello.
Priyal. Before we start, please remember anything discussed on this podcast should not be regarded as financial advice. And when investing, your capital is at risk.
But of course, you can flexibly take some of your private pension, your workplace pension, when you get to the age of 55. But there are lots of sort of rules governing when you start accessing that, then you're limited to how much you can contribute to your pension afterwards. So you need to think really, really carefully before you start accessing that, because it does sort of change your circumstances quite drastically. But it is quite common for people to start accessing some of that, moving to part-time, perhaps trying retirement out in a sense, and sort of using that to supplement their income that they're getting from whatever work they're doing. But I think in most cases it'd be really worth talking to some of the services out there, government-backed services like PensionWise or the Money and Pension Service, before you go and do that, because there are quite a lot of implications. Or if you want to feel much more comfortable, perhaps a financial advisor.
When it comes to planning your retirement and how you're going to fund it, there's a whole bunch of factors that you have to weigh up. So some of it is when you start your retirement, so what age you're going to retire, if you're going to work part-time or if you're going to stop completely. You're also thinking about your life expectancy. I don't know exactly when I'm going to die, but you can certainly kind of estimate how long your money is going to need to stretch. You can toggle around with what income you can take, because if you take more income earlier rather than later, there's more chance of running out of it. And then there's a whole range of factors that will impact, depending on how you take your money in retirement, what the stock market does, what inflation does, if you're going to have to cope with rising prices, how the tax is going to be taken off your pension, and also thinking later on whether you want to leave any money to your children.
Customers find it very helpful to actually bring their pensions together and bring them online and see how much they have in total. That is actually a very powerful way to feel more confident, actually, about your pension. Customers have said to me, I worked at this employer like 20 years ago and for 1 year, and I'm shocked that now my pension is in the tens of thousands. I had no idea. So that's a first powerful step. Another is using the retirement calculator. You can use the sliders to put in when you want to retire, at what age, what income you expect to receive, how much you're currently paying in, how much you already have. And that can help you work out how much you need to pay in every month. Now, it's not that the first time you log in, you're going to have the perfect plan, but it's a process and it's a habit.
So the annual budget for the minimum standard is £10,900 for a single person and £16,700 for a couple. And that's going to include a week's holiday in the UK, eating out about once a month, and some affordable leisure activities about twice a week. But on the other hand, it's probably not going to include the budget to run a car. Now, at that level, through the combination of a full state pension and the sort of normal auto enrollment that you would get in your workplace pension, that level should be very achievable for most people. We project that about 3/4 of single employees are likely to achieve that level, and everyone who's in a couple will be able to reach there because they share their costs.
So that would be a comfortable minimum. And if people felt they wanted to have a bit more wriggle room to enjoy themselves, what's the next level up?
A bit more. So the moderate standard is £20,800 for a single person and £30,600 for a couple. Now, in addition to the minimum lifestyle, that's going to provide a little bit more financial security and more flexibility.
When it comes to withdrawing the money, you've got a choice between whether you effectively buy yourself a final salary pension, whether you use the money to buy an annuity, which pays a guaranteed income either for the rest of your life or a certain time period. So again, that's something very dependable. But although annuity rates have gone up recently, they're still not amazing. And then the other option is that you leave the money invested and then can choose how much money you take and when. A lot more flexibility, a lot more freedom, but also the responsibility is on the individual, because fundamentally, if you spend too much money, you could run out. But if you are nervous about spending, you spend too little, you have a less comfortable retirement than you could otherwise. It really is a good idea to talk to PensionWise before you start spending your pension money. It's a government body. The appointments are completely free. I'm going to say that again. The appointments are free. And what PensionWise can do is give you guidance about your pension options. You can have no fear that they're going to try and sell you something or rip you off. The flip side of that is they can only give you guidance. They can't actually give you the nitty-gritty about you should invest your pension money with this company and this fund, and you should withdraw these amounts at this time. If you want that, then you probably are going to have to pay for independent financial advice or do, a lot more work yourself.
But this is a great starting point.
It absolutely is.